Well, one more game for you. And it is Chizzy Dave Chisnall, the darting savant, the 5-time major finalist, taking on Madhouse Ritchie Edhouse. Very dangerous player, but an inconsistent one. Fair to say that Chizzy comes to Minehead this year. One of his poorer years on the Pro Tour circuit. But he's evidently got a fair few fans in the crowd. Didn't work out for Chris Dobie in the last game, did it? What's an incredible victory for Willie O'Connor, defying 10 180s from Hollywood Chris Dobie to book his place in the next round to face Christoph Ratajski. It's Brendan Dolan, the number 9 seed, who awaits the winner of this one. We saw Brendan earlier on today, a clinical display in a 6-2 victory over Chaz Barstow. Finished very, very impressively in that one. We know that Chizzy's going to score well.
First leg, Ritchie to throw
And he
first.
produced the goods at the end of legs as well.
.45.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I've gathered my breath after that incredible performance from Willie O'Connor. I don't know whether you caught the end of that game, Dan, but Willie O'Connor, when he was shaking hands with the officials on stage, was holding his heart, as if to say, I don't know how I got away with that.
Well, I'm still not sure, but get away with it he did. Part of the reason is he averaged almost 97 himself and only missed 2 darts at double. So, superb display for the Magpie.
60.
Now, Ritchie Edhouse, who made his way to the tour this year, not via Q School, but by having a very good challenge tour in 2020, after a very successful time of playing online darts during the lockdown process. Was that a good season? 41st seed, playing against Dave Chisnall, the 24th. And this one started in encouraging fashion.
I mean, even Chizzy's going to struggle to hit 10 180s like Chris Dobie's just produced. But he is going to score big, you would think. 11 segment here. Ooh, that's quite a long way off.
As he would put it, David.
Love darts, mate.
81.
Just didn't love those particular darts. That second one in particular. 17 segment. Double eights. Yeah, nicely done by Ritchie Edhouse. Can be seen as a conservative route, going for the bullseye on those 91 to 95 finishes. But you could argue that if there's any that's a particularly good one to go for, it might be the 92. Because if you get that 25, leaves you 67. 17 is a natural one to go for on 67 because it leaves a great double.
You don't see many dart players with a goatee beard anymore, do you? A lot of them are going for the full beards these days.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, I think the old goatee has gone slightly out of fashion, hasn't it? You know, the full beard is very much, you know, the hipsters are going for beards nowadays.
Yeah, the Humphreys and Michael Smith, who has a very resplendent one.
Oh, yeah.
100.
But when you're throwing darts like that, don't change, Madhouse, don't change. But he did make a change a year or two ago. He stopped using Let's Get Ready to Rumble by PJ and Duncan for his walk-on song. That was a mistake.
He's not making many mistakes at the minute, is he? Got to go for the 19s. Yeah.
99.
Gets the maths right. Ritchie Edhouse did have a little spell where he beat Dave Chisnall 3 times in a row. From the back end of last year in the Winter Series.
83.
Spanning through to this summer. Played him a couple of times in quick succession and won them both. Now overall, Dave Chisnall does tend to win in their meetings. It's actually the 13th time they've played. They play an awful lot, these two. Especially when you consider that Ritchie Edhouse has not been a tour card holder for a particularly long period.
Well, so far in this game, Edhouse looks the more assured. And he's been in the building a long time. He was practicing on this stage in between sessions. Double 12. Chance for
45.
Dave to get even after 2.
Dave requires 75.
It is a chance, and they're these sort of mid-range finishes which can look really, really simple when they just go in 2 darts. Well, they can look horribly complex, like now. 16 segment.
66 was a good year.
Double 9. Oh, wow. Well, I saw him throw it, and we had to wait to see where it landed. And if you'd asked me to bet whether that found its mark, I'd have said absolutely no flipping way.
Me too. That was a Jockey Wilson fling.
135.
Just goes to show you, even though Dave Chisnall, we've seen that, you know, that the neck jerks back and the arm doesn't follow through properly. That snatch,
47.
even when he has that, he can still deliver the dart, despite that, to where it's supposed to be, or at least somewhere very, very close. He didn't mean to put it in the bottom left corner of that double 9. That's probably best part of an inch away from its intended target.
There was something that Wayne Mardle said, I think it might have been at the World Match Play, when referencing Dave Chisnall. It might have been something during the World Grand Prix, actually. He talked about Dave's idiosyncratic follow-through being after the fact.
57.
When the dart is already released. So if you were to slow his throw down and see what happens when the dart is no longer connected to his fingers, it doesn't really matter anymore.
You can do anything. I mean, Martin Adams has that sort of waft away with his arm, doesn't he, at the end of his follow-through? It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you like. You can hold the pose like Darius Labanauskas. You can do whatever you like after you release the dart. But the follow-through, the reason the follow-through is important technically is because if you are following through properly, it's an indication that everything you were doing beforehand was doing what it was supposed to be doing.
34.
Do you know one of the reasons? Actually, we'll come back to that because it's a really good subject. Because Edhouse might be taking a 170 here. Not quite.
84. Dave, you require 160.
Dave Chisnall with a very similar finish. 260s required for tops.
100. You require 86.
They're jousting there, sparring at this point in time. Ooh, act quickly. That's in. Act quickly, Ritchie. And if it hits, go and get it quickly.
If that falls out, he does not get the point, even if this 20 goes in.
66.
He was out of rhythm. He was distracted. And he didn't throw that
60.
very well. I think he thought it was going to fall. Double top with a guide.
20.
And Edhouse has got away with it.
20.
Double 10. On the throw, now double 5. And that was a better dart. Full follow through. And that leads me to what we were talking about before, Dan. But there's a thing about the forearm of all dart players. What you might not know if you didn't study biology or anything like that is that the 2 lower arm bones are curved. The ulnar and the radius, they actually curve around each other. It's one of the reasons why you can turn your hand upside down. So when you extend your hand, the natural reaction for the body is for the arm to actually go over on itself. And that's one of the reasons why Dave does what he does.
Oh, see, I did know that because I did study biology, and at GCSE we got to dissect a darts player. So it just helped us learn about that kind
Who was
of stuff. I can't remember at the time. Some lad off the challenge too.
Dark, dark, dark.
Well, he's more than matching in here, Ritchie Edhouse, because Dave Chisnall is only sort of, I wouldn't say languishing, but lurking
60.
in the sort of high 80s in terms of the averages right now, which is not where we kind of expect Chizzy to be.
Yeah, it's been a funny old season for Dave.
37.
In fact, it's been a funny couple of years since he won in Denmark against Chris Dobie in the Danish Darts Trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it has been for everybody, obviously, we know that, but some players have thrived, whereas others have not. Others have just kind of stayed at the same sort of level. But Chizzy is not one who has carried on performing at the levels we've seen pre-pandemic. Is the pandemic the reason for that? Is it a factor? Yeah, it's difficult to say. We'll never know.
I don't know. I've got another insight into that. As Edhouse misses and offers Dave Chisnall the chance to equalise again. Edhouse could be in the distance here. He could be 4-0 up.
Really could. Missed 2 darts for that second leg. He's missed a dart for this one. Tops with a marker again. And tops with a marker is missed again by Dave Chisnall, who has missed 4 darts to win the last 2 legs.
How many chances does Edhouse need?
20.
He was out of rhythm there. He was playing too slowly.
You require 40.
Usually a lot faster than that. And Chizzy is one lucky boy to be coming back for tops. This time he finds it, and it is 2-2. So they can both move on to try and win a best-of-7 match from here. But Dan, I've got to ask, because he made the semi-finals of the World Championship in beating Van Gerwen with that ridiculous performance in the quarters, but not being given an invite into the Premier League, we've seen people suffer with that. Is that the reason why Dave has possibly regressed a little bit since then?
I mean, I doubt that not getting an invite to the Premier League is the reason, but one thing that is a recurring theme, that, you know, you go and ask the likes of Adrian Lewis is on stage earlier on saying, oh, well, you haven't seen me on telly all year since the UK Open. I've not been able to play in anything. I haven't been able to play anything because he hasn't qualified. Really. That's the problem. But he wasn't picked for the Premier League, and he certainly found when he started missing out on the Premier League, when he was going and playing Euro tours or big TV tournaments that he was qualified for, you're saying, well, all these guys in the Premier League, they're getting 14, 15, 16 weeks of big stage game experience, practice. They're going into this hot. I've not got that. And if you're in the Premier League, people say, oh, well, it's, you know, it can be confidence destroying or whatever. You're up there playing big stage darts, and as long as you're not getting absolutely beaten in submission every week, you're at least getting that experience and that recent experience. Hopefully you can play yourself in some big stage form. So I think there is something to be said for success breeds success, of course. Look, if you're in the Premier League and you're winning games every week, then yeah, you are a man to watch. But then again, that means you're one of the best players in the world.
I would agree with that, because Simon Whitlock once told me that he didn't practice when he was in the Premier League because he didn't have to.
You go there, you do your practice before you get on stage for 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever. But then you've got that practice on a Thursday night. You then might be going to a Euro tour, a Pro Tour at the weekend. You know, it's made for you. And it's purposeful practice. High stakes, big money games, big crowds.
36.
Another poor visit. We've seen a few of those in this game.
Tops messing around on doubles a little bit here.
44.
Window of opportunity.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to go the Norris route. Treble 14 or treble 11 right next to each other. Got big margin for error on the weight of darts. You're still on the finish on the 143 if you hit either of those.
Double 5 was kind the last time he was here. And it is once again as he reaches the halfway point. Not that you would think that he's happy as he wafts that one away. Michael Van Gerwen's going to be happy though, because he's through by 6 legs to 3 against Kevin Durtz.
100.
Peter Wright will play Keen Barry next on the main stage. It's been a good night for the big hitters, because Gerwin Price did get the win against Jason Lowe by 6 legs to 3.
Yeah, from 3-1 down, I think he was in that game as well. So 5 legs on the spin for the Iceman. Coming into this as the Grand Slam champion once again.
140.
Could it be yet another big title picked up by the Welsh? This is the only big TV title held by Michael Van Gerwen. Is it going to be ripped from his hands by either Johnny Clayton, the winner of 4 TV titles this year, or Gerwin Price, the reigning world and Grand Slam champion? There's very few things that do not belong to a Welshman right now in the world of darts.
So what you're saying is the Welsh are like the Magpies. They're taking everything right now, and why wouldn't they? They are the darting nation right now. Chisnall doesn't have to go 51 route. Well, fair enough.
21.
If you're not going to go for it, usually you would stay on the 60. But he knows best. He is the professor.
Indeed.
You require 40.
And he's got all the time in the world to level this game up at 3-all.
And
there's double top. I think, did he genuinely look at his watch there, Dave? It's like, how long has it taken me to hit that?
Did he look at his watch or did he look at his tattoo, which has a watch on it?
It has got a clock on it, yeah.
97.
Has he got the history maker time on there from the clock shirt?
Yeah, no, mercifully.
140.
I think he is actually the time his daughter Lexi was born, I think.
Yeah, she's a national talent when it comes to gymnastics.
Yes.
She's very good.
Does she get that from her dad?
140.
I hope
Not from my
Not that I want to see him in a leotard, but...
I have spent time with Dave in Morecambe, fine town, but I've never seen him do any gymnastics, thankfully.
Okay.
140.
Well, Edhouse does have the advantage of the throw. We have seen 6 holds of throw in this game so far.
122.
I'm not sure what he's apologising for there.
Oh, did I mean to hit that?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously going for the ball and he's hit it.
He is quite apologetic as Ritchie Edhouse. He does not give himself enough credit for what he can do. If he got a bit of a nasty streak, I think Ritchie Edhouse would be a very different player. He's just a bit too timid for me.
Well, he was in charge of this game for a little while. Dave Chisnall wants double 10 for a 12 darter.
31.
He cannot find it. The doubles desert him again. Ritchie Edhouse should not be on 102. He should have left this a lot handier. Well, he made the right decision by going for the treble 14, in my opinion, but he should have been much, much closer than 102 away.
He's only scored 92 with 6 darts.
Quite.
And Dave Chisnall can count himself incredibly fortunate to be having this opportunity. He's gone 3-1-1.
8.
How is Edhouse getting away with this?
Well, missed doubles all over the place from both men. And Ritchie Edhouse, relief. I mean, that's the one you apologise for, right?
You don't apologise for nout.
Yeah, quite right.
Not in my book. Oh, that's
60.
Yeah, I tell you what, the board should apologise for that. That was cruel.
Dave Chisnall has scored minus 60 points with a dart there. I mean, it might have been minus 120, but
it was definitely a 180 if it stuck.
It looked like it.
I wonder if this is the same board that they had for the Chris Dobie match, and maybe Chris has just obliterated it.
It is, yeah. Each board only has a certain number of 180s.
60.
And Chris Dobie has used them all up.
Yeah, and Dave's run out of change.
Yeah. Well, this is one. It's Dave Chisnall. It's Dave Chisnall.
Well, that puts it right. And even with 120 on the floor, he's still... How much ahead? A lot.
97.
Too much, by the looks of it, as far as Ritchie Edhouse is concerned.
No, in the words of Luther Vandross, never too much, never too much.
58.
David, indeed.
I wonder if Edhouse makes a mistake. Does he call himself Richard?
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody call
125.
Maybe his mum. I know one person that calls Dave David, and that's Michaela. It's usually when he gets told off.
Mrs. Chisnall.
61.
For those of you at home.
There is options on 63.
40. Do you require 63?
I know a lot of people who like treble 17 here. But that's nice. Double 6. Very well done by Dave Chisnall. Because Edhouse, if he takes that 121, if given the opportunity, he would then be throwing for the match right now.
Well, 8 legs in, 8 holds to throw. We might be going the distance, but Ritchie Edhouse, I mean, his average has just come down as the game has gone on. I mean, it's plummeting towards 80. But he's still just about hanging on in there. But you feel that Dave Chisnall is the aggressor. He has become the more likely player. The first 3 or 4 legs, it was Ritchie Edhouse calling the shots. And despite the fact that all the way through it's just been hold of throw, hold of throw, hold of throw, the chances to break have started to more involve Dave Chisnall as the aggressor.
Can't count out Ritchie Edhouse. He is someone who has been on the tour, off the tour, on the tour, off the tour. He is someone who just constantly knocks on the door. And he wants a stint right now where he's not going to Q School or to the Challenge Tour. He just wants to stay where he is for a period of 4 or 5 years. If not 4, a period of, say, 15 years.
Yeah, he's kind of Norwich City syndrome, isn't he? Keeps getting his shot in the big leagues and keeps getting sent back and keeps bouncing back and forth between the two. Undoubtedly got quality, but just can't seem to find a satisfactory level at the top. 32 to go within a leg of victory. He squeeze it in, or is he looking over the top into the high bit near the 11? Oh, great dart. Really good dart from Ritchie Edhouse. And Dave Chisnall has to win back-to-back legs. And, of course, nobody has won back-to-back legs in this game because it's only been win, lose, win, lose, win, lose right the way through.
You can never count out Ritchie Edhouse when it comes to a last leg shootout. There's a game he had, I believe it was a couple of years ago on the European Tour, when he didn't have a card. He was one of those players who was making up the numbers but playing brilliantly. And he played Adrian Lewis in the German Darts Grand Prix. It was 6-5, and it was the last game of the afternoon. And Lewis was poised on a double. And what did Edhouse do? He took it 160 to win the game.
That's the weekend he went on to reach the semi-finals, wasn't it, I think? The semis? He's certainly been to the final session of a European Tour event before, Ritchie Edhouse.
Yeah, I think that was in Maastricht.
You may be right.
Well, Edhouse on 230 here has got to stay on the 20s to leave the finish. He is on a finish now to win the match. And I've just mentioned 160 to win a classic. This is not a classic, but 170 to win a game. We know we like those.
But it is an important game for Ritchie Edhouse. We have not seen a ton plus checkout in this match. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Well, some irresponsible bumpkin shouting out, "Come on, Chizzy," when he was going for that shot. And that's why he paused after he threw that second dart. But this is to take us the distance. Double 16. And Edhouse gets an easier chance to win the match, to upset the 24th seed Dave Chisnall.
Problems, 14 segment. Double 11 to win it and knock Dave Chisnall out. Missed match dart. Will he get another?
You don't suppose he would. This is classic Dave Chisnall, just taking his time. Can he get it done? Don't think he likes it. And that's in the wrong bed. He thought when he left his hand that that was in.
Ritchie, you require 22.
Split it or hit it, Ritchie Edhouse. And straight in for a 6-4 victory. Dave Chisnall crashes out in round 1. We have seen Chris Dobie, the higher seed, go out to Willie O'Connor despite 10 180s, and then Dave Chisnall go out to Ritchie Edhouse. That concludes the action here on stage 2 in Reds Bar. Ritchie Edhouse, our final winner of the night. He'll be back to take on Brendan Dolan tomorrow. we'll leave you to head over to ITV4 to catch the, the other action. Obviously, this is where the main stuff's been happening. But we will be back tomorrow for second round action in the afternoon, and then into the last 16 in the evening session here on PDC TV, the Players' Championship Finals in Minehead. Laters.